Good morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Reverend Eileen Wiviat. I'm the Acting Senior Minister of the Unitarian Church of Evanston. Whether this community is your spiritual home or you are seeking comfort and connection in uncertain times, we're so grateful that you're with us this morning. We are an inclusive and welcoming community seeking truth and love and striving to nurture the human spirit for a world made whole. We are guided by our principles and our values, which remind us in every moment and through every challenge that each of us matters and that we are all connected through the vast and beautiful web of existence. Together, let us remember our oneness, our kinship with one another, and may we hold one another in heart and mind with tenderness and careful attention. There are many links of connection in the comments section below, including credits for the readings, to virtual religious education, for donations, and to be added to our email newsletter list. If you are newly joining our community this morning, we especially invite you to let us know that you're with us. We'd love to keep in touch. The all-church Zoom meeting will be on Wednesdays at 5:30. This is open to everybody, and I encourage you to attend. The link is sent in through our newsletter list on Wednesday afternoon for you to join into that conversation. And we'll hold a virtual coffee and conversation time after this service on Zoom until about 1 p.m. You can find that link also in the Show More section. Our next installment of virtual Intro to UU and Journey Toward Membership classes are coming up. Intro is on Sunday the 13th at 2 p.m. and Journey Toward Membership is over 2 nights, Monday the 21st and Thursday the 24th. The link to sign up for those classes is below. And Water Communion is next Sunday. This is the time when we would normally call it in-gathering, but we won't be in-gathering in our building, but we will be coming together as we do every Sunday, virtually. And it is the time when we gather the waters of our community. So please send me a water picture if you haven't already. Thanks for the many that I've gotten so far. And for next Sunday service, I encourage you to have with you some water in a bowl or a cup and a small stone for a ritual that we will share together. And now there's a video from our search committee, Tom Hempfling.
I'm Tom Hempfling, a member of UCE's Ministerial Search Committee. Up to now, the congregation has been involved in the interim process, whose purpose is to shed unwanted baggage from our past and then explore how we hope to live out our mission. Now you will have a chance to input directly in the discernment process. What do we collectively envision for our church's future? What are the qualities of the minister who will work alongside us to help us achieve that future? And what shall we tell interested ministerial candidates about our church to help them judge if they would be a good fit? The August 28th UCE News included a link to our congregational survey, as does a special email to members and friends. This is your chance to include in the record something of your experiences here, what has inspired you, and perhaps what has not. What skills, experience, and characteristics do you think our congregation needs in its next settled minister? There will be other opportunities for input in the fall, but the survey is when you can choose when you will participate and when you can be sure your individual views will be counted, although your identity will remain anonymous. We will be providing help for anyone who has a technology issue in filling out the survey. When you complete it, you will be able to enter a raffle and perhaps win a prize. We're asking that all surveys be completed by September 20th, but please don't wait until then. We're all ready, even impatient, to begin the search. Let's get started.
Today is the final installment of a project we've been enjoying this summer, of a collaborative of preaching from local Chicagoland area UU ministers. And I know it's been really an enjoyable experience for many of you to see and hear the preachers from our area and all that they have to offer us. This Sunday is Reverend David Schwartz from the Beverly Unitarian Congregation and First Unitarian Church of Chicago. I'm so pleased to have him share with us today. And here is a greeting to us from David.
Good morning. I'm Reverend David Schwartz, and it's a pleasure to be with you virtually at the Unitarian Church of Evanston this morning. You all are a wonderful bunch. I've gotten a chance to be with you preaching a couple of years back and to be up there from time to time. It's a pleasure in this strange moment of isolation to have an opportunity to connect and to be together. I serve our congregation in the southwest corner of town, Beverly Unitarian Church, and I also serve in co-ministry with my spouse, Reverend Terry, at the First Unitarian Church of Chicago, which you'll get to see a little bit of later in the service today. It's good to be with you.
Janice Amira Miles Milanovich, light the UCE Chalice in our sanctuary in Northern Illinois, on the traditional homelands of the Council of the Three Fires, the Odawa, Ojibwe, and Potawatomi nations. Many other tribes, such as the Miami, Menominee, Ho-Chunk, Sauk, and Fox, also called this area home. We name these in honor and respect.
Here below the sanctuary at the First Unitarian Church of Chicago is our church crypt. Here rest the remains of Unitarian dignitaries and ordinary people who lived ordinary lives, often through extraordinary times and with extraordinary faith. They were like us, with hopes and fears and dreams and uncertainties. They were babies and elders, and they're here with us, holding us up. So great a cloud of witnesses. They are our foundations, and we remember them. We remember the past because we believe in a future. The shape of this space, the designs inlaid in its walls, the stones meeting overhead, were all created as reminders of an interior architecture of our spirits, outward symbols of an inner journey. A still, small voice calls to you through the cacophony of the world, and you followed it into this moment. You followed it, a call which you can only answer in the shape of your living. Sometimes our spiritual lives are like this, lighting one small flame in an empty room. Sometimes our work is to sing the joy and to face the cruelty of the world, celebration and solemnity, a laughter and weeping together that comes in the knowing, each of us wounded, each of us blessed. You are the people who tend this flame, a people of hope in a time of uncertainty, a people of unity in a time of isolation, a people that remember the past in order to make a future, a people who tend to their own foundations. May it be so.
Please join in saying the words of our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. And now, if you'd like to join in singing hymn number 128, For All That Is Our Life.
For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. The needs which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain, and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our life, for all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad.
Today's story for all ages is The Three Stonemasons, a fable which has been told for many centuries across different cultures. This version is taken from The Magic of Metaphor by Nick Owen and credited to Rachel Naomi Remen. During the early years of the 14th century, the foundations of a magnificent cathedral were being laid in Central Europe. The supervisor of the laborers was a monk who studied the working practices of the stonemasons. He singled out 3 stonemasons to learn about different attitudes toward their profession. He approached the first stonemason and said, "Please, tell me about your work." The stonemason stopped what he was doing for a moment and replied in a clipped voice full of anger and resentment. "As you see, I sit here in front of my block of stone. It measures 1 meter by 1/2 meter by 1/2 meter. And with every blow of my chisel against the block, I feel as though I am chipping away a part of my life. Look, my hands are calloused and hard. My face is lined and my hair is gray. This work is never ending. The same day in, day out, it wears me out. Where's my satisfaction? I'll be dead long before the cathedral is even 1/4 finished." The monk approached the second stonemason. "Hello," he said, "tell me about your work." The second stonemason replied in a soft, even voice, "As you see, I sit here in front of my block of stone. It measures 1 meter by 1/2 meter by 1/2 meter. And with every stroke of my chisel against the block, I sense I am carving out a life and a future. Look how I am able to shelter my family in a comfortable house, far better than that in which I grew up. My children attend school. No doubt they will look forward to even more in life than I do. All this is made possible by my work. As I give to the cathedral through my skill, the cathedral gives to me." The monk approached the third stonemason. "Greetings," he said. "Tell me about your work." The third stonemason replied in a voice full of joy, "As you see, I sit here in front of my block of stone. It measures 1 meter by 1/2 meter by 1/2 meter. And with every caress of my chisel against the block, I know I am shaping my destiny. Look, see how the beauty trapped within the form of this stone begins to emerge. Sitting here, I am celebrating not only my craft and the skills of my profession, but I am contributing to everything that I value and believe in. A universe represented by the cathedral, where each gives of his best for the beauty of all. Here at my block, I am at peace with who I am, and I am grateful that although I will never see the completion of this great cathedral, it will still stand 1,000 years from now, a beacon celebrating what is truly worthy in all of us, and a testament to the purpose for which I have been placed on this earth." The monk went away and reflected on what he had heard. He slept more peacefully that night than he had ever done, and the next day he resigned as the supervisor and apprenticed himself to the third stonemason. It is easy to get lost in the day-to-day drudgery of work, to get discouraged by the fact that it is so hard to see the benefits of our labor. And yet, if we can find joy in our work, and if we can trust that even though we may not see all the fruits of our labor, of all the hard work that we do, if we can hold on to the imagination of what is possible when we work together, when we do our bit, when we fulfill our purpose with a true heart, and think about what we can do as a collective, And if we can hold on to our imaginings of our dreams of what could be possible when we work together, when we put our joy and our love into our efforts, and we trust that together what is possible is truly bigger and broader than any one of us could create alone. These are the joys and sorrows that have been submitted this morning to us. You can submit joys and sorrows through our homepage. There's a button you can click on to add it to a Google form, or you can simply send me an email ahead of time. We share a sorrow that Kay Wade has been diagnosed with end-stage pancreatic cancer. Kay has been a member of our community for a very long time, and she's very happy to receive cards and calls if you are able to do so. Her family welcomes those as well. Marlene MacArthur shares a concern for her daughter Leah, who has symptoms of COVID and is awaiting test results. We're holding you in concern, Leah and Marlene. From Kristen Larson, Craig returned to Shirley Ryan Ability Lab on Friday. The setback that he experienced last week was actually a huge step forward. Once the tachycardia complications were resolved, Craig was able to rest and seems to have recovered his full sense of humor, his memory, and his appetite. He has no more chest pain from the surgery and has let go of some of the fears about returning home. Fingers crossed, he is home the week of September 14th, and Welcome Home Parade is still scheduled for September 26th between 1 and 3. Details will be posted on our Facebook group page. From Mary Dudek, Saturday's memorial service for our beloved friend Jenny Syed was beautiful. A loving remembrance of a gentle, kind, and dedicated peacemaker and justice seeker. Mary expressed thanks to me and for support and all the intimate words. The speakers who spoke of Ginny's accomplished life, many thanks to them, to Gregory and Sophia Feddersen for uplifting music and song, and for Adam for pulling it all together virtually. And Ellie Feddersen adds her gratitude as well to Adam and everyone who participated and watched Ginny Syed's service yesterday. Ellie writes that she aspires to age feistily like Ginny, and will try to not mourn too long, but put energy into organizing as she did. What an amazing woman. And happy 52nd wedding anniversary to Joe Lynn and Craig Cotton. We added that to our chat this morning. We know that these are not the only joys and sorrows that are on our hearts and that we all hold together as a community. And so we take a moment together to be quiet and to read to ourselves the joys and sorrows and concerns and gratitudes that we enter into the chat in our service below. Please take a moment to read those and hold together these thoughts in care and tenderness. And I invite you to say aloud from wherever you are the names of those who you are holding in your heart, those who are sick, who have died, and those who have experienced great loss in this time. May they gather on the winds and be held in community. holding all of these, I invite you to join me in the spirit of prayer and meditation. Spirit of life, source of love, with gratitude for the gift that life is, we call on you to be present in the work that we do, in the building of a better world. We call on you to guide our efforts. Through the suffering and sorrow, all a part of living, may we find comfort and companionship. May we seek to ease the burdens of others and discover strength to endure loss, uncertainty, and pain. May we find courage to resist fear and resist the fear that is fomented and used to turn one against another. May we find wisdom to overcome ignorance. May we cultivate peace within, among, and beyond us. And may we build greater equity. Great and beautiful mystery, help us to overcome the violence that rages within us and all around us. May we resist the temptation to succumb to oppression and give us resilience to labor for all-encompassing and liberating love. May our work for justice and peace be guided by our faith in each other and in the beauty abundant in this precious life. May we be well. May all beings be well.
More love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. There is more hope somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more hope somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more joy somewhere.
My name is Annette Wallace, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. And this is called Remembering the Future by Reverend Teresa I. Soto, activist and minister of the UU Church of Oakland. Can we develop the skill of remembering the future? Can we commit to build the community that will extend into a time that we only know by memory because it will outlast us? Memorize the compass points of the day yet to come, the truth, the love, the fire, the endless yes of the horizon. Shake the scales from your imagination. Reach, stretch, rise. There is no more time for pretending that everything can be all right without your Cree, without your attention. You can mourn, grief being more real at times than the promise of the sunrise, more real than the piece of the moon that by inconstant silver turns, disappears. And yet, while we may mourn changes, losses, deceptions, and betrayals, beneath the ash we find the ember. We weep, and then, as we have learned from labor movements, we organize. Remember the day toward which we gather, the tomorrow toward which we advance. It is with your actions today that you engage that muscle memory, that sense of smell, the ragged velvet feel of the day that you have never lived. It is also your day. Remember it well.
UCE remains a vital part of the world and our community. And because we continue to need one another in the blessings of community, we take this time to invite you to give to our shared plate. This month, we share half of our offering with Shorefront Legacy Center. We're grateful to Dino Robinson, the founder and former acting director of Shorefront, for sharing with us about its mission and important work in the community.
On behalf of the Shorefront Board of Directors, thank you for this tremendous support your congregation has bestowed onto Shorefront. Shorefront is a historical organization dedicated to collecting, preserving, and educating people about Black history on Chicago's suburban North Shore. Our mission has guided our over 25 years of grassroots organizing, building an accessible archive, and assisting schools, scholars, and researchers alike. We are also proud of the historic work providing resources to students and the general community through our various programs and activities. And we're really excited about our new program, the African American Heritage Site Initiative. This honors historic structures throughout all of Evanston. We are most proud of our recent work toward dismantling structural racism in our community. The Shorefront Archives and our board have provided invaluable services to the City of Evanston in its reparations program, enabling them to make pivotal changes and place needed resources, repair historic damage, and educate the general community to a history that has too often been ignored. Your generous contribution is valued and will help us continue to make groundbreaking strides in dismantling structural racism. Thank you ever so much.
You can text to give, send in a check, or give from the website. If you send in a check, please indicate in the memo line if your check is for the shared offering, pledge, capital campaign, or some other giving. Please give as generously as you are able, and may what you give bring you joy.
When my kids discovered Legos, I rediscovered Legos. A toy that I had loved to play with as a kid. But the other thing that I rediscovered and remembered besides the sets was the fun of just building, of just making. Some people's medium is oils or charcoals, and some people's medium is music, and maybe my medium is small plastic bricks. I rediscovered the instruction that my mom had given me at a young age. She told me, you have to stop following the directions. You have to just start creating on your own. You have to stop following the directions. This is a source of both my great strength and weakness, because sometimes you really do have to follow the directions. Last fall, I started thinking that I would build a scale model of Mont Saint-Michel, the island city castle church off the coast of France, and realized that to do it at minifig scale, it would be 7 feet tall and 25 feet across, so I scaled it back a little bit. But as I started to create this thing over a period of weeks, I began with foundations, with building the foundations onto which something could be put. This time, I didn't want to just build a church. I wanted to build a church and put it on the top of a hill. And to do that took cathedral thinking. Cathedral thinking is long-term thinking. When medieval cathedrals were built, they were a project that took generations to build. So cathedral thinking meant that I might work my whole life just to set a foundation, just to raise one pillar. And that would be all of my contribution, but it was going towards something bigger, that the point is not just to put in a foundation or just to raise one pillar, but to be part of something that endures, part of something that we could imagine, this end result that we could see in our heart, in our imagination, even if it wasn't going to happen in our own lifetime. That sort of cathedral thinking doesn't have to extend across generations. Cathedral thinking means we pay attention to the things that we can do right now, to the things that we can do today that make the future possible, that make something else possible in the days and the years to come. But you also do this in your spiritual life, tending to the foundations that day by day don't transform you radically, but over time prepare the way for the kind of person that you're becoming. I say sometimes here that you're beloved both as you are and as you can become. I say sometimes we love you exactly like you are, and you could use a little bit of work. We could all use a little bit of work. We say, come into this house and be both the person that you are right now and grow into that person that you're becoming as you follow the call of your own life. Cathedral thinking means tending to the foundations of your spiritual path. It means paying attention to those things on top of which your life is built. Sometimes we get really obsessed with the end result, right? Instagram reality. That is so focused and obsessed with how do things look on their surfaces. The way that we curate our Facebook profiles. So much of the stuff is surfaces. We're people who are concerned with the foundations that lie behind those surfaces. I think often Van Ogden Vogt, the minister of this church many years ago, the one who built this Gothic sanctuary, said that calm repose and a steadfast endurance of the Spirit is induced by a clean wall of stone well laid. think about that when I think of us being foundations people. People who tend not just to the surfaces of things, but to the order, to the solidity. People in our own lives trying to create a spiritual path, a person that is as solidly grounded as these stone walls are. People who tend to foundations. In our spiritual life, we're constantly building and rebuilding. Constantly, over and over, tending to our foundations, realizing that something isn't strong enough and going back and adding additional cross bracing to make it toughen up, to stand up to the living. In Legos, a piece can fall off. You just put it back on again. That same thing is true in our own lives. You lose the thread, you lose your temper, you lose your gratitude, you lose any sense of awe, wonder, or hope for the world. That's okay. The piece fell off. You just pick it up and you put the thing back on again. And it's going to fall off again. Legos aren't permanent. This was the entire plot of the first Lego movie, is how awful it is to glue your Legos together. Don't do that. The things come apart and they come back together again. This is the lives that we live. What are for you those foundations that your spiritual life rests on? What are the foundations strong enough to hold up a life that is spacious and beautiful? A life of service and integrity, a life of joy, a life of beauty. There are practices that let us tend to the foundations. Reverend Terry talked about square breathing, that way of recentering and resettling yourself down again. For me, practices like that are a way of remembering what really matters. They're a way of letting go of the surface world of things and recentering, regrounding, saying, all right, where are my foundations today? What kind of shape are they in? Are there any cracks here that need tending to? Are there any pieces that have fallen off in the last few days? I can put them back on again. I can keep on going. Tending to your spiritual foundation, just like tending to the maintenance in this building, or reattaching the pieces that fall off, rebuilding the parts of the structure that aren't solid, tending to your spiritual foundations is a practice which we continually lose and have to rediscover and attach the pieces back together again. That foundation lets you weather the storm. I try to tell folks who didn't grow up in a church tradition, or if they did, just didn't get anything out of it, that the worship service, church service on a Sunday morning isn't something that just happens to you. And this is true whether we're meeting physically in the building or whether we're gathering online. Whether you're watching this along with a whole crew of 80 other people on a Sunday morning, or you're watching it by yourself 2 years later in the middle of the night in another country. Worship isn't something that's happening to you, it's a practice that you're doing. It's not passive, it's active. It's something that you're engaged with. So we're singing together, putting ourselves into a place and a mindset, even for those of us who aren't singers, of making something together, making music with our bodies together. In the prayer and in the meditation, it's an explicit invitation to go somewhere inside yourself, to shift your mindset. So often we'll say at the beginning of that prayer, set down all this baggage that you carry with you. It's because it's a practice. That's not my work to set that down for you. That's your work to do in the service. It's active. That worship service is a practice of renewal, a practice of tending to foundations. And at different moments, there are different opportunities to remember awe or wonder or gratitude One of my favorite parts of these online services each week is seeing folks greet each other in the chat, coming together to offer a welcome and hello and fellowship and connection. That's active. That's something you do. Worship isn't something that is given to you. It's something you co-create. It's an opportunity for practice to tend to your foundations, to tend to foundations of service and joy and integrity and awe and connection and humanity and humility and on and on and on, and beauty too. Part of what always sets my heart and my mind at ease as a pastor and a preacher is knowing that I'm not really the one doing the work right now. I'm saying some things, I'm working, but look, you're the one doing the work. You're the one engaging with this thing. When the invitation to prayer comes, that's your work. When the invitation to sing comes, that's your work. Even when the invitation to listen, that's your work, to put your mind and your heart in the place ready to receive that beauty. Putting yourself into that state of being and thinking is attending to your foundations. What makes possible the heights and the beauty is paying careful attention to what those rest on. And that's our work today. And that's our work every day. And the pieces are going to fall off. And that's okay. We just put them back on again, pick ourselves up, patch another crack in the foundation, and keep on. Amen.
As Janice, Miles, and Amira extinguish the chalice, please join in saying these words. Though the flame is extinguished, we carry with us the warmth of community, the light of truth, and the fire of commitment until we are together again.
All are architects of fate, working in these walls of time, some with massive deeds and great, some with ornaments of rhyme. For the structure that we use, time is with materials filled. Our todays and yesterdays are the blocks with which we build. Build today then strong and sure, with a firm and ample base, and ascending and secure, shall tomorrow find its place.
May we work together to build a better world. May we strive collectively to create peace. May we be faithful to the truth that we are all connected to all things and to all people. May we protect our vision of what is possible through love. Go in peace. May it be so.